Hi, everyone. Welcome to Levels. It is, what day is it? It's Wednesday. It is Wednesday, the middle of the week. That's how I know, because I'm confused. That's how I know it's Wednesday. I'm Jeremy Long. Welcome to Levels, where we talk about MMA and boxing and everything, every sport available where you punch other people in the face. I'm excited about this one, as always, because we are talking to one of our favorite guys. But before we get to that, Cece, how are you? What's going on in the land of Sportsnista?
You know what? Pretty good, actually. This is my birthday week. So celebrating another 365 around the sun.
Come on, man. 28 years old. I just can't believe it. You don't look a day over.
Every year I tell my kids I turn 27. They are legit confused. now they're doing math.
They have no concept of time anymore.
Well, they're doing math stuff, and there's just no way you're 27 again. And I'm like, watch your mouth. But the month has been co-opted by the little girl because it's her birthday month. So mine is just a little blip on her radar. So it's festive around here. It's festive, you know.
That's good. Good. Well, as long as it's festive, it's a good time to have our guest on for today because, you know, celebrations deserve celebrations and kudos deserve kudos. So let's not waste any more time. Let's bring him on right now. There he is, ladies and gentlemen, WBO Junior Lightweight Champion. The champ is here, ladies and gentlemen, Jamel Herring. There he is. And you know what? Let me start out, Jamel, saying congratulations on the win. Now that you're just, a few days removed from it, the dust has kind of settled on everything. Very emotional time with Carl Frampton announcing his retirement and everything. But how do you feel in this moment? How does that victory taste now that there's a little bit of distance between that time and now?
I feel great. I feel good. I think overall I'm just more pleased with the outcome because we all know how things looked for me after my last outing with Jonathan Okendo and basically how I was treated. So I think the most satisfaction is basically not only winning but winning in a big way.
Do you think touching on that and how you were kind of disrespected after that last fight? Is this a little bit of justification? Is this a little bit of getting back at, not necessarily getting back at people? I know you're not a vengeful kind of guy, but a little bit of just like, hey, I told you that this guy ain't going nowhere.
I mean,
I must have forgot.
Yeah, that's just how I am. Like, I don't lash out, as you all know. I don't go to the social media and lash out on everybody or try to pick a fight with each and every one of my critics. But I wanted to prove a point, and I believe that not only did I prove a point, I did it in a spectacular fashion, and just shows that I still have a lot to show, and I still have a lot in me. And I'm just, like I said, the old saying, the talking is done in the ring. So I think I spoke clearly loud from my performance in the ring.
Let's go back to Dubai. And there was some talk about kind of what the time difference was going to mean for you. And I know that Frampton had said that he thought it was a mistake on your behalf to show up so late. How did it, if at all, the adjustment affect you?
It's funny. I was joking with somebody yesterday, and I was saying that I think Frampton would have had a better chance of this week because when I got back to the States, I was just kind of like knocked off from the time difference, and my hours have been like getting sleep have been wild. But during that point in time, I was just motivated. The minute I got off the plane, I ordered my team to basically get their gear packed up and let's head to the gym. Because I wanted it was like a 14-hour flight. So I felt like, okay, I'm not going to let my day completely go to waste like that. We're going to go hit the gym and do something. And I went straight to the gym and I adjusted each and every day. Luckily, I didn't feel any like jet lag because I like when I went to sleep on the plane, it was still dark. So when I got up, it was like, I think it was like morning by then. So I was perfectly fine.
You fought at like 2 a.m, right?
Yep.
Tim Bradley was asked on the broadcast if that would make a difference for you, and he was like, "A fight is a fight. Like once you get in there, it don't matter what time." Is that how you felt?
Oh yeah, you're gonna wake up. It don't matter. Like I said, when somebody throwing punches at you, you're gonna wake up. You know, I mean, you guys see it here in the States. Like sometimes, like we think when we have, like I said, like a pay-per-view broadcast and like the main event that starts maybe like midnight on Eastern setting. So we see it. It's not like it's something new or something out of the ordinary. You know, okay, just an hour difference from when I've seen main event started like 12 at night in the States. So, but like Tim was saying, a fight is a fight, and I looked at it as, you know, it was just my moment. I didn't care. It could have started at 3 a.m. You know, and for all I care, I just went. As long as I got in there and handled business, I was going to be perfectly fine.
3 a.m. That's one of those Kid Rock Waffle House fights.
That's going back to the '80s, the Warriors. You know, when they was out there trying to get back to Staten Island. You know, they was fighting their way back, and they didn't get back to the morning. So
that's one of those scattered, covered, smothered kind of fights right there, man. 2 in the morning, you got to be awake for that. But you get this victory over a guy, who had an outstanding career, in all respect to Carl Frampton, for an amazing career and journey and everything, and on that resume of his, only being stopped once by TKO, and it's, your name next to it. I mean, can you walk us through that, just, I guess, that feeling of knowing that, I've won this belt, and there was a lot of talk around me. There was a lot of negativity around, some of the things going in and out of the camp or whatever. But you get this high-profile win at a time when a lot of people are starting to ask you the question of, hey, when are you going to hang it up? What's next for you and everything else? Is this validation saying, hey, I still got lots left going on in my championship reign?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like I always mentioned, one of my idols, his biggest victory came at the age of 35, which is Bernard Hopkins when he fought Felix Trinidad. Remember, at that point in time, we look at it now, we said, man, Hopkins dominated that fight. But then, I remember then they were saying that, Tito was going to destroy him. Tito, we seen what he did, what Tito did to William Joppy prior to that fight. So most figured that Hopkins was out of his league, and Felix Trinidad was the same dominant fighter that dominated at welterweight at that point in time, and he scored his biggest career that night with a TKO, and he still went on to do bigger and greater things with his career, and that's how I look at it. Even with myself, I'm not saying I'm Bernard Hopkins, but I say, like, if you stay disciplined and you live right when the cameras are not on you. You know what I mean? And you just do things the correct way, which and take care of your body. You can go as far as you possibly want to go. And like, you clearly seen it. Like, age didn't show up that night. Father Time, is still behind me. So I look at it as, I made my mark. But not only did I make my mark, my profile grew. And my stock raised a lot that night. And now you see I'm being mentioned with bigger fights today.
Yeah, I missed you with the cut again. How is it? I saw you take off the steri strips there. And has anyone mentioned? Yeah,
everything is fine. Yeah, I mean, like, I had a couple of stitches, but you guys know I've been cut before. It's part of the fight game. U.S. Marine, so that, like, blood makes the grass grow, as we say. So it really, like, me, like, it's like one of the things, like, I've been there before, and that's what I think bothered me the most the last time out. And like, people just figured that I just, like, quit. I'm like, no, I knew something was just terribly wrong, because I have been cut plenty of times and fought through it. But no, I mean, for now, the cut that I have is fine. Just been resting, and sometimes I forget it's there, unless I, like, mess with my face. But no, cut. It happens.
What's the moment like when it opens up? Are you thinking, like, oh shit, it's happened, or you're like, good, now we can get through it?
No, it's funny. It was funny that you said that. When it happened, I was just like, oh, here we go again. Exactly what I said. Like, I was like, that's why I was like, oh, I just felt something warm, and I'm like, oh, here we go again. But I look at it as this time around, if you really look at it, it was kind of like a blessing in disguise, because it actually answered some questions that people had from the last time. So it was like, they were like, when I watched the broadcast, when I came home and watched it back myself, like I said, they were mentioning that this is the moment where I can answer some questions in terms of adversity, and how I react to certain things, and if I stay calm. And you guys seen it. I always said that I felt that in my heart that Frampton would only have a chance of being successful if he got on the inside and made it rough. And then when I got cut, you seen it kind of sparked a little fire under him. But even then, I still stayed cool and calm under pressure, and I didn't react crazy. My corner, thank God for my trainer Red Spikes. He said he was going to take care of it, which he did. And if anything, it kind of once the cut open, you guys seen that I stepped up my tempo, and then one thing led to another, and then the fight was over.
Well, you had of course a ton of moments in a really great fight there when you dropped him for the first time. What obviously then kind of a dogfight and you guys are doing your thing and everything, but when you dropped him for the first time, was there a sense that anything ever wash over you going, oh bro, come on, this guy right here, I'm about to this is my night, this is that feeling to kick into a different level? What was it like for you being on that end of it?
I was still playing it smart, because I remember even my last fight when I had dropped Okendo with the uppercut.
Right.
With the uppercut, he got up. And it seemed like he kind of came a little bit harder. You know what I mean? So that again, Andre Ward caught on to it as well. Like he said, I was checking the temperature, so I wasn't going to get too riled up and too excited, because I didn't want to end up getting caught with something crazy by running in. And like I said, and plus with Carl Frampton, he is a crafty veteran. So you got to understand that he's probably been in heat of the moments as well. I mean, look at the Warrington fight. He was hurt the first 2 rounds.
Yep.
He still fought back. So I was thinking like, okay, I got him, but let me just play it smart. And that's why I was like, I was pawing at him to see his reaction. But then once I started seeing, for me it was the body language, the following around. I seen that he wasn't reacting the same to the punches, and right. Instead of him pressing forward, you can see he was kind of like retreating a bit, trying to get his feet under him. And that's when I said, okay, now I can step it up and and place my shots wherever I want to, and eventually take them out.
Well, you gotta, I think you should start getting a video series together for that uppercut, because that's becoming a thing of beauty right there, man. I mean, a few fights in a row where you're doing some major damage with that little step-in uppercut that you have. It is, man, that is becoming your bread and butter.
That is the weapon. That is the weapon of choice. Because I could throw it, of course, up top, but I think a lot of people wasn't like Andre Ward said that I don't get enough credit for my body attack at times, because I always believe that if you invest in the body, the fight gets a lot easier as the rounds go on. And
right.
I felt if you really go back and watch the fight again, you can see in the corners he's breathing a lot heavier than and then when they panicked in my corner, I was calm. And mind you, I had to cut and everything, but I was calm. But I can tell from just the body attack that it was taking more of a toll on him, and that's why. And I know, because I knew Carl is good on his feet, so I was like, if I take his legs away by attacking the body, I'll eventually I can go back up top and end it from there.
We could actually hear. I mean, Bomac is one of the most animated trainers in the whole wide world. I actually am going to miss not having fans in the arena, because you could hear him so well. But as fans come back, we're not going to hear him as much. But also, you've got Esau in your corner as well. So people have felt like we're oversimplifying the jab because of your range. But it sounds like to me that actually you were using more of your speed and mixing in that uppercut with somebody like Frampton. Do you feel like he wasn't expecting that, or if he was expecting it, he just couldn't do anything about it?
It's funny, to be truthful. Bomac, the whole entire camp kept saying that I would stop him. I would stop him. And for me, I at times you take it as, of course that's your trainer. He's gonna say, that you're gonna knock. If we was fighting Tyson next to this match, we would have said I was gonna knock Tyson out.
Yeah.
So But there's things like and I get what you're saying, especially like I look at it like it's very educational for the viewers when they get to hear the trainers during these bubbles, these fights in the bubble, because you actually get like a class and you see what the trainer is pointing out. And like, like at one point in time you hear Bo, he told me before the fight, no matter what, don't let this guy out hustle you. Don't let him outwork you. That's why when you hear him yelling, bully him, and you see me, moving him to the ropes, that's what he was mentioning, because we knew that Frampton would check it on the inside and try to, make it rough for me, or that's when he would let his hands go. So Bo would yell, don't let him outwork you. Go back down to the body, touch him, and but you can just see the chemistry between me and Bowman, because when he speaks, I react. And it's a trust thing, because if you don't fully trust your team, sometimes you'll see fighters and they'll hesitate. But for me, every time I heard him, I heard his voice. Okay, he sees something that I may not see. Let me try and work with it. So like I would pause, and I would come under with him to the body, and then he'd be like, yeah, right there, good body shot. And then I would say, okay, now I see where he's leaving himself open at, and that's how we work. And it played out perfect. I mean, like people say, it's probably one of the best performances of my career, and I'm glad it was against a guy such as Carl Frampton. It wasn't like, it wasn't just like a cab driver. We did it against a guy who potentially could be a future Hall of Famer.
Right.
And there was two guys in there. I mean, you and Frampton, like nobody had anything bad to say about either one of you, and so it was good to see that you got the fight, and and how it played out. But I will say that Jeremy and I were on the show the week before, and Jeremy did call it. He was like, don't know why this is 50-50 fight. Jamel's going to stop this guy. There's no reason to think otherwise. So
right.
We did call it. But listen, we ain't supposed to have favorites. Damn it, we do. We do.
Good call, though, Jeremy. I mean, for me, like I said, I always thought that that I would be the superior fighter. But we all know most of the boxing world goes based off your last performance, of course. Right. So that's what I like. Even it's funny, like literally, like before the Okendo fight, I remember I was the favorite. After the Okendo performance, that's when you started seeing things started shifting in the narrative, and then Frampton was the favorite. And it was like literally the morning of the fight, or like the night of the weigh-in, that's when it kind of came back to me being the favorite again. So it's like that's why I don't really get into when people ask me, oh, how do you feel about this person said that or that? I don't really get into it, because at the end of the day, you have the last say on what you want to do with your career. And that's how I looked at it. I just knew I was just so confident in myself, and I was just glad when I got to Dubai. I was just excited, because I'm like, you guys seen it. Like, there was too many delays. It seemed like at one point the fight was never going to happen. Love you too, bro. That's my bro. That's my brother who keeps chiming in. But like I said, I just know who I am as a person and a fighter. And as a person, I know I was never a quitter and things of that nature. But as the fighter, I wanted that fight so badly that I wasn't going to let anything stop me.
Well, fighters have different periods where they hit these different strides. And you can see it just in their movements and their confidence and whatever it is. You can just tell that there's right. something different about them. They've hit a different level. You know what I'm saying? Right. And it seemed like you've been in perpetual training. You've been in training camp for like Jesus, since 2019 almost.
Right.
But it seemed
since I met him in November of 2019, I've been training for this fight.
Yeah, you've been training for this fight. So do you feel? After this year in which a lot of fighters have been exposed because of the lack of being, kept busy and actual fights that were going on and everything, do you feel at all that you've hit a different level at this stage in your career, that you're ready to really showcase and really have your coming out party, or is it just kind of another day at work for you?
It's a bit of both. It's a bit of both, because I love and respect the sport. That's why I have to live the sport. You have to live it. I always tell everybody around me, you got to live boxing. You can't just say, oh, I'm gonna train hard when I have a fight coming up. No, you gotta continue. Even now, I still have to take care of myself, stay disciplined, and things of that nature. But I definitely feel that was kind of more like a coming out party because I didn't show any sign of weakness. I didn't show any sign of fatigue. It seemed like the blood, even with the blood, it's like I was still getting stronger by the the rounds. And I was just, like I said, I was just motivated, and my headspace was at a different level. Because you guys know my story. I've been through my ups and downs. Right. So I felt, if anything, there was more pressure on him because if you really look, the buildup was mainly behind him wanting to make history. So with me, right. and then on my end, I was already seeing like people's already counting me out as it is. So it was like, where's the pressure on? Like, where's the pressure on me? Like, there's no pressure. Like a good handful of people think that I'm done. A good handful of people feel as he's so much more experienced that it won't be close. And if it is, it's like you said 50-50 fight or whatever. But like I just went in there like, hey, I'm about to just, hey, if I know when I win, we'll win. That's what I tell myself. I'm not gonna say if. I'm like, no, when I win, that I know that I'm going to finally get the credit that I've been, fighting for since I, came into the pro rankings. And like I said, I was just cool, calm, and collected. And I even like people, and I know you guys see everything that goes on because I see everything. If you look at the buildup, a lot of the talking was coming from his end. And when I was doing interviews and I was speaking with you guys, I was always respectful. I was always calm, like I am now. I didn't get out of character. I didn't feel like I had to get out of character to build the fight. But I mean, at one point in time, I never forget. He was going out saying that he had the power to stop me in any round. They questioned, they kind of questioned my heart because of the Okendo fight. I didn't have fast feet. I didn't have fast hands. So and then it went to I was struggling to make weight. Now, remind you both, you guys seen it.
You've been on weight for like 2 years.
Yeah, and you look at it, he kind of barely made the weight. He was at like 129.9. I actually weighed less than him. Then it was, it's unhealthy because I have too less of a body fat, so I was going to struggle. Like, I'm like, man, wait, like, it's always something. I'm like, but you're kind of putting the pressure on yourself with all these assumptions because now you got to perform. And it was like, everything that he said, I showed the complete opposite. I was quicker to the trigger to getting him with the punches. That seemed like the jab was definitely sharp. It seemed like my punches were heavier, obviously, and like I said, like stuff like that. It only motivates me. You can't. I was trying to warn him, like I'm a U.S. Marine. I've heard it all. I've been through it all personally. Like, what can you tell me that's going to knock me off my game? And it showed that I wasn't bothered.
We have a comment in the chat from Pop DiBiase. He says, Jamel, you're a shot caller now. I hope you take a big money fight and it ain't Shakur.
I respect that. You know why I respect it? Because at one point, like if you go from being, oh well, he's almost out the door. He's done. To now people saying that you're the shot caller. That just shows you that's a lot of respect, and I respect that. But you guys seen what I said at the end of the fight, and it's nothing against Shakur. Shakur's my guy, and we know the business of boxing, how it goes, or how people try to narrate the situation. But I want to keep striving and moving, going upward. And you guys seen that I wanted to fight with Oscar Valdez, and people forget, like they tend to forget that Oscar Valdez basically called me and Frampton out. He put out there that he's watching the fight and he would love to fight the winner. So like when I respond to it, like why are people looking at me like it's a shock? I mean, I always gave Oscar his respect though. I felt like he beat the man that I was chasing. You guys know I was chasing Berchelt for a while as well. When I first won the belt, Berchelt kind of called me out, but we could never get the fight to be made. So when Oscar got the fight, I actually one of the only few that actually was rooting, with Oscar. I felt that because he has a great team. He has Eddie Reynoso and Canelo Alvarez behind him. So I'm like, they know something. They see something in that Berchelt fight that we may not be seeing ourselves. I'm like, I don't think they're gonna go in there, blind. So I'm like, and I gave Oscar the benefit of the doubt, and he came out on top. And I said he beat the man. I mean, at that point in time, Berchelt had the most defenses You know, he was on the verge of trying to break the great Julio Cesar Chavez's record in terms of title defenses at super featherweight. And Oscar went out there and he capitalized big. And I feel like we're in an era of boxing where you rarely get to see champion versus champion. So if I have the opportunity, why not take it? And my dream has always been to fight for a Ring magazine title. And I believe that Oscar and myself now are the two top guys. So why not make that fight? And also potentially have me become now a two-time world champion and the lineal champion as well. So I just see there's more of gaining with fighting Oscar Valdez than anyone else right now in the division.
Undisputed is important, but I feel like unification is rare, especially in boxing. How important would that be?
Very important. I think it's good for the sport. More importantly, it's good for the sport because you guys see boxing gets hit a lot, and we also get compared to the MMA system, especially with the UFC. There's one champion in the division. It needs to be like this. It makes it a lot easier because people get confused. The casual fans are confused of who's the real champion. That's why I kept, spouting about the lineal title because, at the end of the day, the lineal championship, that's it. You're the man. You have the lineal title. That you're the guy. You're the guy. And I believe, and I see now people, I love it because it's good for the sport. People have that now. They have it. Their little debates. Who's better of the two? Well, Jamel poses the threat here. Okay, but Oscar does this better. That's what you want to see in boxing. You never want to hear. You don't get interested in hearing one-sided conversations like, well, he's expected to win. You want to be put in the fights where people actually, go back and forth and debate. Who would win, and I think that's one of those type of fights between me and Oscar Valdez and. Us being right, at ESPN rankings, they have him as number 1 and I'm at number 2. And I know eventually, soon the Ring magazine, who I grew up, we all grew up reading Ring magazine. They're gonna update their system as well. And like I said, I watch guys like my stablemate Terrence Crawford. He has 2 lineal ring titles. Championships, as well as Tyson Fury. He has one, and I look at that. I'm like, you know what? I want one. So that's my goal, and that's the reason why I want to fight Oscar Valdez.
Oh, that would be a great fight. Before, during, and after, saw lots of comments from your wife. Really, just she talked about. Running into Carl Frampton and his team and how respectful he was and how much she appreciated that. And then after the fight, just, how important is having that significant other who has that unconditional love and support for you, and no matter win, lose, or draw, always has your back and is always in your corner, always ready and willing and able to just jump in and help do, help complete the dream.
That was very, very important. Very important. Home is is pretty much the backbone. Everything starts at home. If you don't have that motivation and drive from the ones around you that you see every day, it's hard to get up and go out there and perform at your best. And even when after the Okino fight, a lot of that came from her afterwards when I was saying that I don't know how much farther I can go because I wasn't too sure about myself dealing with the COVID, and we know it's still COVID-19 is still a new thing, so we don't fully understand it. So when my body was still going through it, even performing, I was thinking to myself, I don't know if I could perform at the highest level, and she's seen it, and it kind of broke her heart because she was more upset, as you guys already know, from what was being said about me. And right. I put everything on. It's just like she's looked at it like, you make the sacrifices of being away from your family for over 2-3 months. You put in the work and you do a lot, and it's like you go on and appreciate it. So why should you continue, going out here night in and night out for the sport of boxing that's not giving you the same love back? So that's where a lot of my emotion came from. But that shows you just the influence that someone like her can have on you at home.
It's amazing, man. And just having that, and you know, we keep talking about, you know, your fight prior to Frampton and all the things that were said and everything. At the end of the day, with this emphatic win over this guy who's, you know, more than likely going to end up in a Hall of Fame, probably the biggest win of your career so far. Do you feel like, whether they like it or not, the naysayers like it or not, you've earned that respect back and you've earned your place, your proper place as one of the top guys in your division?
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. I don't, you know, it's funny. It's funny because I keep a lot of things to myself. I keep a lot of things to myself. And I remember looking at the Ring magazine rankings. Like I said, I watch everything, and it's like, I remember, like, and there's no knocking against anyone because I know the athletes don't control the rankings or whatever. But I remember just seeing, like, you know, JoJo, my guy JoJo, he lost his title on whatever on the scale, and then he fought to a draw. Then I seen even with Miguel Burchell, he lost by TKO and whatever. But like, when you looked at that time, it's probably there still now, but you looked at it, it's like I got bumped down, and these two still remain ahead of me. And you know, at the beginning, I kind of felt some type of way about it. But you know, I took that also, and I used it as motivation. Like, I feel like, because I took it as, you know what, they're really looking over me. They're really looking over me. And I'm like, you know, here's a guy, here's a man that lost his belt for whatever, and fought to a draw, and yet he still ranked so high over me. And then another guy who suffered a devastating knockout, and it's like they bumped me now, and he took my spot. I'm like, so I was like, man, like I don't feel like I'm getting the proper respect that I deserve. But I was like, but I told my team, I said, don't, and my team seen it also, and they're very upset. I was like, no, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Let's just continue working hard and use that as motivation. And that's why I made the comment towards my good friend my Doug Fisher at Ring Magazine, because that was basically directed to them, like, look, you know, I'm still here, and look what I've done. Look what I've done. You know, if anything, I've gotten better. And so there, like, it's just the little things that I see. Those things are what motivate me. I don't go out here and cry and complain about, you know, in the rankings. And I always say, like, I believe the people will, you know, they'll place you, and you know, where they feel that you see fit anyway. But yeah, I mean, I think now after it was all said and done, I think I finally got the you know, just that recognition and that respect that I've been fighting for. But I did it the correct way. I didn't go out here and cry about the politics and things like that nature. I did it the way that it was meant to be, which was in the ring. I always say your performances and your actions will show, and you will be rewarded.
I pay attention to fight or walkout songs because I feel like it sets the stage for the mindset going into a specific fight.
Right.
You came out to a message. Whose idea is that?
Oh, it was mine. I'll give Coach Red a little credit, but you know, I spoke with him first about it, and you know, that's how we were feeling, you know, as a team. You know, for me, I don't care for the A side, B side, but they, as a team, they were looking at it as like we had our back against the wall, and we was treated like, you know, the B side severely, even as a champion. But I didn't care. Like I said, I didn't like it. The whole build up, it didn't bother me. It didn't, like you guys seen it. I didn't care if I had to go to Belfast. I wanted to fight badly. I didn't care when they had to move it over to London and Frank Warren was taking over the promotion. I didn't care. I just wanted to fight. That's why I never argue about who should get what. And I mean, because I feel like if you have a great team, like, and I'm with MTK Global now, obviously, as we see, I let them take care of that whole negotiation part. Just get me in. Like, I'm still a fighter by heart. Yes, boxing is a business, but I'm still a fighter at heart. Just get me in the ring and let me prove who's the better of the two, A side, B side, whatever you want to say. I don't care. Just getting. And that's what I was telling them the whole time, like, you know, through the build. Hey, don't worry about legacy. Or well, we have our own legacy we want to, you know, create. So that was that. And that was just me going through the whole fight, doing through the whole process of getting to the fight. And it's sad that like I said, during that time we lost a great champion, Marvin Hagler. And I remember, you all remember his story. Marvin wasn't getting the respect at one point in time that he was you know, fighting for. He had to go out there and prove it with, you know, with his performances. You know, he wasn't a brash, flashy talker like a Ray Leonard. You know, he wasn't even a big trash talker as you know, Tommy Hearns, or he had a country behind him like Roberto Duran. But, you know, he made his mark, you know, and he was a southpaw. You know, during that era, southpaws, it was common for people to avoid southpaws. So he wasn't getting, you know, the big fights that he wanted until, you know, he did you know, he made his mark with a massive performance. And that's how I look at it. Boxing still plays a role like that today. I mean, even with one of my favorite fighters in Winky Wright. Winky Wright didn't have his coming out party until he fought the great Shane Mosley.
Yeah.
And then, you know, like for years he was clawing at the door for opportunity. And, you know, when he got it, he capitalized on it. And I had the same mindset. I said, no, this is my moment. I'm not gonna let anything ruin it or get in the way. And like I said, I think I took that fight a lot more serious than I did with the Masahiko Ito fight.
Okay.
Nice. Well, Jamel, I mean, we love having you on this show. We can talk to you all night and day, every single day of the week about everything boxing, man. So we don't want to take up any more of your time. I will let CC have the last question, but man, from me to you, congratulations, man. I know it's been a long time coming. Like you said, geez, since November 2019, waiting on this specific fight. Yeah. You go out there and you put the two-piece and a biscuit on my man, that uppercut, keep throwing it. And, you know, I feel firmly in my heart that you are, yes, you've been champion for a while, but I feel like you just get started. I think you've gone to another level. And I can't wait to see
for me, the goal is, like for this year at least, because it only happens once a year.
Yeah.
I really want to be in I don't like in the conversation of being, you know, fighter of the year. That's my goal, and that's why I want the bigger fight coming with Valdez. I don't care for tune-ups and things of that nature. I want to go continue challenging myself. And like I said, you guys seen it. 2019, I was Ring Magazine's comeback fighter of the year. 2020, I had a rough outing, but then if I can continue the momentum that I have now in 2021, they will and potentially do the same thing against a great fighter such as Oscar Valdez. You have to put me in a conversation for at least fighter of the year, even if I don't win it, at least. But it's just great for my you know, for my own legacy and my own story, and because I like to send a message to people who probably in a similar situation where people have doubted them or they don't believe in them, and I just show like, listen, you know, I have my ups and downs. You know, I suffered defeat, but I never allowed it to define who I was in or out of the ring, and I still came back to do great things with my career. So that's what, you know, for me, it just I just want to continue, you know, giving people out there good vibes and sending a good message to them that you can do anything that you put your mind to, as long as you believe in yourself first.
I think we close with that, Jeremy. The man in his own words. Listen, we are Team Herring around here, and you're welcome anytime, any day, and definitely best of luck to you the rest of the way. You got a great team, a great attitude about it. We're really looking forward to seeing what you can put together in the second half of 2021.
Thank you. I love talking with you guys. So we'll come back on. And make sure to look out for my girl Micaiah Krebs. She's coming back soon.
I was just about to mention her.
She's fighting soon. Like I'm just glad to be back in my management position. But Micaiah is coming back very soon. Another prospect that we just recently signed, Matthew Rodriguez. He should be fighting in May as well. But yeah, I'm just glad. I'm just happy to see. You know, I'm ready to see the younger talent, you know, get their due and put on good performances as well.
Micaiah Krebs.
My man. Yeah, forget you either, Michael Gamble as well for Cincinnati. He's another one. So, like I said, I want to give my attention to them and, you know, put them on the right path.
But Micaiah, who likes to say that she's often approached because she doesn't smile enough. versus, with a manager who has $1 million smile on his face
Hey,
almost all the time.
Micaiah is my manager at Clubber Lane, so she's gonna be all right. As long as she keeps smiling.
Man, we love her. She got that can do, will kill you attitude about boxing, and that is it's refreshing to see, because she's just like, dude, she has your attitude, just minus, every once in a while she'll smile. We got her smile a couple times.
We will get it there. We will get it there.
I'm not worried about it. I don't want her to. You don't want to smile, don't smile.
Right.
I'm not going to tell her to smile, because I don't want to get punched in the throat. But it's interesting to see, man, and raising up that next generation of fighters. I couldn't think of a better guy to help young fighters on their way, man. And she said the same thing about you, and we're really excited to see what's next for all the young talent you have coming up in and around your team and everything. So hats off to you. Celebrate the win some more. And then when it comes down to it, hopefully we can get the Valdez fight made, and let the hands do the talking in the ring.
Gotcha.
Absolutely. All right, Jamel, thank you so much for your time, man. Appreciate you. Take it easy. Have a good night, brother.
You too. Take it easy.
All right. There you go. One of our favorite guys. And there's a reason why.
A good
there's a reason why. His attitude is infectious. Everything he does, is on that level. And you just, every time I talk with him, I'm like, let's do some stuff. See, stop yelling at them children in the background. It's okay.
They're doing taekwondo on the basketball.
We can hear them. We can hear them. They're getting right too. One day they're gonna be here and they'll be like, I remember my mom. She was on this podcast and she kept yelling, but I kept breaking them boards.
Right. I mean, he's sparring out there with his sister, and so I think he clipped her, and so she's mad. And now it's a fight. So
now the beat down's coming. All right.
Yeah, work it out. Like what we said. One thing that happened on that card in Dubai was Keyshawn. Why am I forgetting? Is it Marshall? What's his last name? Kid, prospect. Anyhow, I think he's 2-0. But the opponent had an issue with his gloves. He tried to put salt in his gloves, salt either in or on the glove, and they caught him just before they actually got out there, and they still let him fight. So I'm really curious as to why they still let him fight. I mean, I guess they checked the gloves out and was able to get that cleaned up. But that's wild. You could blind a man doing that. Right.
And they must have. I don't know. I'm about to make an excuse for a commission, and we know how weird commissions are, man. If it was in Texas, I could totally see it. Yeah, they're all about that blood sport, that Jean-Claude Van Damme throw some salt in your eye kind of thing down in Texas with that commission. But they must have determined it was incidental, accidental, whatever the word they use there.
No,
but
that mofo was found out, and I gotta check and see what the fine situation was like, and but that's just wild.
No, it's hats off to the other guy for taking the fight, saying you know what. But at that level, the crazy thing is at that level, starting out your career 2-0 or whatever, you don't fight, you don't get paid. So and there, I haven't met very many boxers at that level who are well off without a significant backer or without being on Mayweather's team or something like that, where you can afford to not fight. So sometimes, it's a big thing. I know it's not, I don't want to say common. It's a bigger thing in countries like Mexico and stuff, that had those loose regulations and looser commissions. We saw it years ago in Brazil with MMA and the different rules, different things that was allowed and not allowed. And sometimes you just have to navigate those situations, and it's a crappy situation because if you're Jamel Herring, you could be like, hey, no, absolutely not. We're not going to do this, or you're fined a significant amount, or you go back to the negotiating tables. if you're a younger fighter, sometimes you're just like, well, I mean, there's no backup. I don't fight. I don't get paid. I got to go with the guy who was trying to blind me and beat the brakes off of him now. So
and pretty much what had happened was, what do you think about the chances of that Valdez and Herring fight happening?
In a perfect world, it would be what's up next, or at least in the fall or something like that. These days, I don't know. Every time a fight looks like it's money, and again, there should be no reason that anything should stand in the way. It turns out that's the fight that's the hardest to make. We've seen a lot of guys, heavyweights, on down, try enter that same situation where it's, it should be, it makes the most sense, and it can't get made because, like Jamel was saying earlier, sides arguing about A side, B side just to get 3 or 4 more percentage points or pay-per-view points or something like that. And it ends up we don't get the fight, the fans lose out, the fighters lose out, and then then people are wondering, trying to make that fight years after anybody cares about it.
Yeah, and it's not good for anybody. I mean, we're talking now, hearing talks actually about Terrence Crawford and Manny Pacquiao. If they do it this year, Terrence Crawford should be favored. If they do it next year, Terrence Crawford's going to be the heavy favorite. They do it next year. But it's wild to me that they can actually go from A side, B side, because, remind you, Manny is technically a PBC kind of like fighter. He fights under that PBC banner in some ways. And so you can't get Errol Spence, but you can get Manny Pacquiao, 42-year-old Manny Pacquiao. That can happen on the PBC. It is mind freaking blowing.
Yeah, and that's honestly what Jamel was alluding to earlier. A lot of fighters, and I won't say anyone in particular, a lot of fighters like to pretend they don't have as much say in their careers as they do. It's an easy thing to hide behind saying, my team couldn't get it done. The money wasn't right. Look, if you want to fight a guy, you're going to fight a guy. Okay. Yeah. And if you think you can beat a guy, you can beat the guy. But just like we saw even with a John Jones saying, suddenly $10 million wasn't enough money for John Jones to step into the cage against Francis Ngannou. And he lays it out there, someone else can have my scraps. And Derek Lewis is like, shit, I'm a fighter. Pay me $8 million. I'll step into the cage with this guy. If you want the fight made, these people work for you. The fight's going to get made. Now, I'm not saying that, Jamel Herring or any other fighter should step in for peanuts. But I'm saying at the end of the day, if you think you could beat a guy and the money is halfway right and you're a fighter, you're going to step in there and do it. The guys who don't, it's often because they don't want to.
They don't want to. I mean, Top Rank has a perfect kind of matchup between Jamel and Oscar Valdez. You got 2 champions, Oscar being the younger champion, Jamel being the surging veteran. Not so much veteran. It's funny. He hasn't fought as long. He just started a little bit later, but they'd be smart to actually give the fans that kind of fight. Looks like some arenas are going to have fans in. Texas 100% capacity?
Texas is open for business, bruh.
Open. I see California is actually open.
They're moving in that direction. Yeah.
So if California is 100% open in June, guess what Vegas is going to be? 100% open.
Well, local, all the decision making goes back to local control, I believe, at the beginning of May, which is just a couple weeks away. And if it was up to our mayor, we would have been open the entire time. She was volunteering us on morning television about a year ago. And whatever side of the politics you're on, I'm just saying, if it goes back to local control, they're going to, I'm sure mask mandates are still going to be in place, but it's going to open back up to 100%. I know T-Mobile's begging for it. I know Bill Foley and his group that own the Vegas Golden Knights have been petitioning the different bureaus for weeks now, trying to get more fans in T-Mobile Arena. So they're itching to do it. I know the folks at Allegiant Stadium are itching to do it. They want all that smoke. They want the fights. They want the basketball. They want the football. They want it all. And I get it.
Bring cornhole. Bring the pro
cornhole championships,
riders,
badminton. National Hoe Convention. They're going to be it. That's Fremont Street. But it's all going to happen, and it's as more and more vaccines become available and administered, the states are going to start opening back up, and we're going to have fights with fans in attendance, full attendance here before we know it.
Yeah, it's coming. Speaking of fights with fans in attendance, UFC is back in Las Vegas on Saturday. No fans in attendance there, but they're going to be hitting the road shortly after that. Well, after the 17th, we think. They actually could move the 17th card, not certain yet. Kevin Holland back in action against Marvin Vettori. What do you think about his chances?
It's one of those things. It's one of those quick bounce backs for fighters. Go one of two ways. It's either they bounce back from a tough loss and they redeem themselves and have build that momentum back up and start to prove that last fight was a little bit fluky, or they rush back too soon and get absolutely demolished. I don't think that's going to happen with Holland. He's a very crafty fighter for as young as he is, for as young as his career is. But it wasn't too – it was mind-boggling to see what was going down in his last fight, the decisions being made. And, when you're young, you're defiant. And he's saying, I'm not changing anything about myself, even though 99.9% of the world, even Dana White and other fighters were going, what are you doing?
Changes, bro. Even Khabib was like,
something up. Yeah. Khabib, he was trying to talk to Khabib, and Khabib was like, "What are you doing? Are you trying to be this guy out here on reality TV, or are you trying to be a fighter? Because the fight's happening, and you're getting your butt kicked." So we're going to see. I mean, Vettori is no walk in the park. That is not an easy fight. It's a very tough fight, but you want main event fights. That's what you get, and I think it'll be a good moment for Kevin Holland. We'll find out, honestly, who he is as a fighter at this moment. And, if he needs to make adjustments or if the last fight was just kind of fluky.
It's a different stage for them to be on. That fight card starts at 9 a.m. Pacific time on ABC. So again, on broadcast TV for UFC, allowing fans kind of across the nation to get on and outside of an app. So it's a different type of audience, and it behooves Kevin Holland to actually perform as a fighter and not as a character out there.
Yeah, and I think secretly, he came out with and a lot of defiant with a lot of defiant stories and tells and everything. And that's just being younger and having a little bit of that ego and everything. You were on a certain trajectory. Everybody was in your ear telling you you're unstoppable, and then you get there and you lay an egg. I think, honestly, with the type of fighter he is, I'm predicting that he's going to come back with a little bit of chip on his shoulder. I think he's going to come out looking for something big and emphatic, which can work out very well. But also, if you're in there wild looking for a statement KO in MMA, one punch can change everything. And, I think we're going to see something.
Marvin Vettori's going to fight him. He's going to fight him.
He's not going to lay back and let Kevin just do whatever. Marvin Vettori is a fierce competitor here. He's a warrior. He's going to bring the fight to him. I think it's going to be a good one. That's a good free scrap.
Yeah, it is.
I
think there's 14 fights on that card, but it's an early night for your girl, though. I should be home by like 3:30.
Look at you. You'll be home
before dark.
Bottle of wine open, hair down. There you go.
Listen,
there you go.
there's
Good night.
Some celebration here. I don't drink, but I might find something.
Sparkling. And a lot of crowd pleasing looks. Sam Alvey and Mackenzie Dern comes back. Mm-hmm. Mike Perry, regardless of how you feel about him, he still draws a crowd. Jim Miller, I'm kind of looking down the list now. I mean, but
that Mike Perry thing just like really befuddles me. It's like this dude like has a lot of problems. Like what was it, 2 months ago? He was on an Instagram live with his leg all cut up because somehow he put his foot through some glass.
look, we talk to fighters all the time. And one of the consistent things that fighters say is that you have to have something wrong with you in the first place to do this, to pick this sport. And most of them can balance that out. They're decent human beings. They're very well educated and professional. And then there are some that fighting was the only thing that they were going to be built for. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but Platinum Mike Perry was not going to be an accountant. You know, he was going to be a fighter. And sometimes those things spill over into, you know, your personal demons.
Yeah.
Rear their ugly heads, ugly head in a way in fighting that gives it something, gives it a different life. And where there's smoke, there's fire. And Mike, I don't know the man personally. I can't speak on it, but what has been put out there, the different videos that surface, prior to that incident in the casino with him, yelling out violent things and trying to attack people and punching an old man. And then this incident and the incidents before and the allegations against him, against former significant others and stuff like that, you're starting to see a pattern. And we've just seen in the last couple of days, if you caught it on TMZ, a fighter, Cody East's brother, Tom East or whatever, who, spent time in different organizations and at one point was considered a blue chip prospect and everything, shot to death during a domestic violence incident where he shot his girlfriend and was only stopped by someone else that was there. And you just don't know. You just don't know. And you hope it never leads down there. You hope it stops before it gets to those kind of points. But who's the kind of crazy guy that was always in and out of trouble with MMA?
Which one?
Jesus, right? Got jumped by Nick Diaz and company in the Bellator or Strikeforce cage years ago, and right after the main event. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. But, after that, after he got cut from the UFC and everything, just had a string of incidents. You have guys like War Machine who do the horrible things that they do, and so you never know. You never really know. But where there's smoke, oftentimes there's fire. And so whatever the case is with Platinum Perry, you hope he gets help before he hurts someone or hurts himself. So, but he's still fighting.
Again. I mean, in some ways, organize some kind of structure in his life is a good thing. Stay in camp, stay ready for a fight, stay focused on that is a good thing. But it's like what gets rewarded gets repeated.
Right.
There's other guys out there who could also use that money.
There's other guys, other people, other fighters on the UFC roster that could use something kind of like what the WWE has in place, their wellness policy, as far as not just testing for HGH and those extra hormones and PEDs and stuff like that, but also that offer therapy, mental wellness for a lot of these fighters that are going through things and their only outlet is fighting. You're surrounded by fighting 24/7. And if you don't have the best upbringing or if something just happens, oftentimes who do you talk to? You talk to your coaches, you talk to a manager, you talk to your teammates, but they're not licensed professionals. So what do they tell you? Well, just keep coming to the gym.
Want you to stand up and fight.
Be a man, be a warrior, step up. But as more and more professional athletes embrace the role of saying, hey, look, there's a mental aspect to this. There's mental health issues even at our levels. Putting something in place, the UFC is a big enough organization that they can lead from the front and say, look, if they don't already do it in secret, I don't know if they actually do. I've never heard of anything but if they put something in place, say, look, there's mental health professionals on staff, on standby, ready to talk to people that are having issues so that we can start getting ahead of some of that stuff before it turns into the situations that unfortunately we still see.
And it's a peculiar name to put on an ABC card. You know, that's somebody you put on, you know, the mouse in them at noon. At noon,
Hey,
I mean,
hey,
is
man,
this the guy who's like story you want people Googling? It was very strange that he's the one that
you're talking about the organization that put what's his name?
Greg Hardy.
Dan Hardy. Yeah, Greg Hardy. Not Dan Hardy. He's a good guy. Greg Hardy on right after Rachel Ostovich. You know, right after her incident with, you know, of domestic violence and everything, and got her to release a statement saying she was cool with it. You know, that controversy. I can't speak now. It creates cash, and
controversy creates cash. I'm
they have
controversy.
never shied away from situations like that.
Yeah,
And that's for better or worse. This is a Just Bleed fan base. This is a let me bang bro kind of organizational viewpoint. So, you know, if you talk about it, you're weak. If you don't talk about it, people get hurt or even killed. So pick whatever lane you're gonna drive into. Just I don't want to hear any of that mess in between. So
it's
there you
where
go.
we freaking are. It's where we freaking are.
It's where we are. So that's our show. We want to thank Jamel Herring for always always a good interview, always a great time talking to this wonderful champion, wonderful guy in and out of the ring. Congratulations to him, his team, his family, and also our congratulations to Carl Frampton for a wonderful career, an exciting career if the retirement sticks. Sometimes fighters don't like to stick with retirement. I get it. Shopping at Smith's is boring. So, you know, congratulations to both of those guys. Very classy in the end. And, you know, yeah, that's all I got to say. So, you know, for the Sportsanista, like this way, Sportsanista, I'm Jeremy Long. This has been Levels. Thank all of you guys. We'll see you next time.